Okay, we are up and running. Okay, it's 2:01. I'm officially late. Bo, I'm late. So I apologize for that. But welcome everyone to the How to Thrive as a New Business Broker webinar. And we've got a lot to discuss today. We're going to share with you a program specifically to let you grow your business as a new to business broker associate. Before we get started though, we got a lot of guests. I'm going to let Bo take it from here. But if you don't know Bo, then you're in trouble, because Bo Barron is not only a fantastic coach, he was originally a colleague and a client of ours here at the Massimo Group, understood our system so well, and now he's the key orchestrator, the main facilitator of our new to business program that has had so much success under Bo's tutelage. So Bo, welcome to the call.
Thanks, Rod. Really excited about the time we're going to spend together today. I did want to introduce two of our guests, give you a feel for who they are, and then we're going to bring them in as we work through our time together today. The first is Tucker Dowdy. And so Tucker, say hi.
Hey guys.
All right. Tucker is one of our most recent graduates that's gone through the New to the Business program. So it's one thing for us to share with you some key principles and some things which we're going to give you today that you can instantly apply to your business. But it's a whole other thing to hear from somebody that's been through it. And so we're going to get some validation and some comments from Tucker as a recent graduate. I also want to introduce Adolphus Miner in Virginia. Adolphus, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Hello to everybody.
Adolphus is here because he's in one of our current groups. He's been in our newest group for about 2 months. And so we're going to get some perspective from him as well. So Rod, I'll kick it back over to you.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We got a lot to go over today. We're going to share with you how to grow your business, how to kick off your business for a successful career. But in order to do that, I need some information about you. And you'll find there's a question and answer box on the lower half of your platform. It says Q&A. It's your ability to ask questions. And please ask any questions. But if you can do one thing for me right away, if you could just type in how many people are sitting with you. If you're by yourself, just write one. Just type in one. Don't put your name in the question and answer box. Type in one. And then I also want to test that to make sure you have access to that and that you can see it and you can ask questions. So here we go. People are flowing in. So a lot of people sitting by themselves in their offices. Okay, so a lot of individuals. Great. I love to see that. So, and by the way, this is a question, but we're going to use that going forward for some of the polls. We're not going to use the texting stuff we did in the past because we got so much content to deliver. I don't want to take time doing text polls. You'll see a slide there. We're going to do the actual polling using the Q&A. So everyone, thank you so much to answer that. And so folks, what I'm seeing here, we got a couple with two, a couple with one. So you all are out there to go forward. So let's get started. So you met the host already. It's a privilege to be speaking with you today. I'm the founder and president of the Massimo Group, and our company has been so fortunate by aligning ourselves with great coaches like Bo and others and creating a curriculum that's been proven to have fantastic success for our clients, that as a coaching organization, we've grown exponentially since our existence or our launch 8 years ago. And Bo, I shared with you about Bo. Certainly he is profiled in my book, Brokers Who Dominate. If you haven't received that book or bought that book, you can go to Amazon and buy Brokers Who Dominate. Go to brokerswhodominate.com and read about Bo and his story and how he's so successful. Don't worry about how we're going to text. We're not going to do that today. But I would want this. Let's get to the heart of the meat of the problem here, right? Who's going to win the NCAA tournament? Really important here in this group, okay? So I want you to see your question and answer box. Just write Duke, Kentucky, or someone else, okay? So I want to know from you, who's going to win the NCAA basketball tournament? Duke, Kentucky, or somebody else? And what you do is use the question and answer box. Use the question and answer box and let me know what you think. And I'm scared to look at these answers.
It's really not a fair question. Everybody knows who's going to win.
Wait, Bo, someone said Tulane. I don't even think they're in the tournament, so we got a problem there. Okay. Duke, Kentucky. I'm in Syracuse and we're out. I like that one. Syracuse had this little issue, but that's besides the point. But that's how I want you to answer questions. That's why I want you to share with us where you are so we can craft our presentation to you during this session. So Bo, I got to tell you, it's pretty even between Duke and Kentucky. Majority went to Kentucky. Smart people there. So, and Bo says no kidding. It's Bo knows that one. So we'll move forward with that. So let's get some serious issues. Are you a new to business broker, or are you an owner manager who has new to business brokers you want to share this with? So which one are you? Just give me the question and answer box. Are you a new to business broker, or do you want to share this with somebody else? And again, Q&A, type A, type B, type whatever you want. Let us know who you are. So they're all coming in, and it looks like almost all of those responding are new to business brokers. So this is really key to them, very important to them. So let's move forward. A couple more questions. How long have you been in the business? You consider yourself a new to business broker. I think, let me change that. Let me change that question up. Let me change that question. Don't answer that yet. Let me go with this. Change those years to months. Let's change those years to months. So 0 to 3 months, 4 to 7 months, 8 to 15 months, over 15 months. Let me know how long you've been in the business. Okay. Wow, Bo, a lot of folks here are, well, they're all over the board actually. Now I'm looking at it, but a good majority are 4 to 15 months. A good majority there. I consider new to the business personally, Bo. If you feel different, chime in. If you're 18 months or less, you're pretty much new to the business. Bo, what do you think?
I'd even take it probably to 2 years. If you've got 2 years of experience or less, especially if you haven't been through a rigorous training program and you're just kind of picking it up as you go, it's probably going to be about 2 years before you actually feel like you know what you're doing.
Right.
Okay, so here we go. The goal, of course, is not to survive. I mean, it's nice to survive. In 2008, everyone wanted to try to survive, but you got to thrive. You thrive and start strong as a new business broker. So here's a final poll I think we're going to have for a while, and then we'll get into the program, I promise. What do you think the survival rate is for new to business brokers in year one? In year one, and this answer, by the way, is predicated on we work with every organization in the United States in one way or another, and we understand what their survival rate is. So what do you think? And some of you are still texting, but you don't need to text. Again, use the question and answer box if you can, please. Just tell me what you believe the survival rate is. And Bo, the answers are coming in pretty strong at 33% overall, focusing between 33 and 25%. So here it is. Here's what it tells us, 30%. Think about that, 30%. 3 out of 10 individuals who enter commercial real estate in that first year are going to be there for the second year. Ooh, that's not very strong. So we got to improve that. We're going to enhance those chances. We got to build business right out of the gate. So last question, let me know why you think that is. Why you think there is a lack of survival, only 30% survive. Is it lack of supports? Is it lack of resources? Is it knowledge? Is it consistent cash flow as an issue, or the lack of a mentor partner? And one of you are still texting. This is great, so I appreciate that. But you can just go to the Q&A if you want. That's fine.
Combination.
So, okay, here it is. Looks like overall, you're all saying, you know what? You're giving answers for each, and you're right. It's all the above. All the above. Resources, mentor, cash flow, knowledge, all those issues are why. So what can we do about that? Bo, what can we do about that? So, Bo, what are the keys to this new to business success? Let's talk about that, but what are the keys?
Well, there's really 5 that we focus on as new to business, and they break down in much this way. The basics, prospecting, understanding the market, the essentials, setting up your plan. We like to frame it a little bit differently, however.
Okay, so how would you frame it? You have a certain acronym, a certain letter you use? How do you use it?
It's the P. We love the P.
The P.
There's 5 P's.
Especially when you're 50 and over, Bo, you have no idea. But that's besides the point. Hold on, Bo, before we get to I think we got a little ahead of ourselves. It's my fault. My fault. A little ahead of ourselves there. So, Bo, this is a program. This is a program that we're implementing, right? And this is the keys to success we're sharing. And we're going to go over these with you today. We're going to share with you how to implement these today. But, Bo, you've been doing this for a while. And so the question to you, Bo, is what are the results? What are the results of someone who goes through this process?
Yeah, and It's real simple. And this is why people are on this call. And this is why people are signing up for this program. And that is this. The brokers that go through the New to the Business program average $165,000 of new pipeline value by the time that they're out of that 6-month program. $165,000. And let's be real clear on what that means. We're not saying they've closed and been paid $165,000. That's not what we mean when we say this. What we track are the new prospects they've found and that new pipeline value that those prospects represent in their sales funnel or in their pipeline. So there's $165,000 on average of new potential net income in their pipeline that they did not have when they started the program.
Okay, so let's put that back to the original statement. Only 30% survive the first year. Look, if you have $165,000 of pipeline value after 6 months in the program or in your career, you're going to survive. And forget survive, you're going to thrive. And that's the key. That's the key. So that's why this number is so important. So, Bo, I got ahead of myself. You mentioned it, the 5 Ps. So go ahead, Bo. Give me the 5 Ps.
Yeah, well, the first one is planning. And the question here is, how's the new to the business broker need to spend their time? How does it? You can't go to Walmart and grab a manual for it. So what's the best way they can utilize their time to maximize their productivity? That's the first thing. The second thing is pipeline. How on earth, one is, what's a pipeline in the first place? And two, how do you track it? And how do you use a pipeline tool to give you the type of analysis that you need to run your business like a business? So we're going to go over that today as well. The third thing is prospecting. And I'm going to say very little about this other than the main thing that a new to the business broker needs to be doing from day one is prospecting. That is the critical skill that they need to nail and implement in their business. And we're going to show you how we suggest you do that. The fourth thing is platform. What technology platform is going to help you do all of these things? How are you going to keep score? How on earth do you know if what you're doing actually works? And we're going to show you that as well. And then the fifth thing is partner. You need a partner in the business. And ideally, you'll have a couple different types of partners. And we say partner not in the ownership sense of the word, but somebody who is vested and interested and for you, somebody who is vested in your success. So those are really the 5 Ps that a new to the business broker absolutely needs to thrive quickly in this business. And those are the things that we're going to address today.
Okay. So, Bo, let's talk about planning. I don't know if we're going to leverage some of the talent we have on the phone with us today and our guests, but let's talk about planning. Okay,
great. So when we talk about planning, there's really 3 things that we want to look at. The first are goals. What are your goals? What are the goals for a new to the business broker needs to be focusing on? And if you have those goals, the second thing are the metrics. Like, how do we even know if we're on our way to hitting those goals? And I'm going to unpack these here in a little bit and bring in Tucker and Adolphus to comment as well. But we need our goals. We need to know how we're tracking those goals. And then the third thing is accountability. Is there someone vested in your success that's going to be asking you the tough questions and making you answer for your performance?
So Bo, so we have goals here. I'm going to take a study step. 3 goals. So you're going to share with the group today the actual goals they should have as new to business brokers?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Go ahead.
And frankly, let's get into that.
Okay.
Here are the goals that a new to the business broker needs to focus on as they start their career. And Tucker, I'm going to mention these 3 and then we'll unpack it a little bit. I want to get your insight on how these 3 goals affected you. The first is time management. And Tucker, let me ask you this. How long were you in commercial real estate brokerage before you joined our new to the business group last year?
I was almost exactly 1 year in.
Okay. And what kind of feel did you have for how you should be spending your time?
I was all over the place, honestly. I had some rough ideas of things I wanted to go after, but nothing concrete, nothing structured that I really looked at every single day that planned out my week. I would maybe block an hour or 2 to make some calls, but nothing that was really focusing on my efforts on where they should be focused, and rather was just doing busy work for the sake of busy work to the most extent.
Yeah, and that's completely normal. That is the norm for new to the business brokers. They really don't have a feel of what they should be spending their time doing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is prospecting. And by the way, for all those listening, I'm going to share with you how a new to the business broker should be spending their time. I'm going to get there in just a minute, but I want to set this up first. The second thing is prospecting. And Adolphus, I'll ask you, I know we spoke last week and asked you this question. You were in commercial real estate brokerage for about 9 months before you got in the program. Is that correct?
Let's see, a little bit less than 2 years.
Okay. So just under 2 years. And let me ask you this, how effective was your prospecting?
Good question. I would say my prospecting wasn't too bad. But now that I have more of a focus on what prospecting is all about and all the inner workings of doing effective prospecting, I've taken that to the next level.
Great.
By being in this program.
And you're just scratching the surface so far because we're just 2 months in.
Yeah.
So it's going to be getting a lot. We're going to get the scuba gear out and take a deep dive into this topic of prospecting.
Looking forward to it.
Great. The third thing is your pipeline. You got to know how to track your pipeline because it tells the story on how you're doing. And I'm going to save some more comments when we unpack this in a minute. So let me share with you guys, and there's my Kentucky coming out, you guys. Let me share with you how a new to the business broker should be spending their time. Because I remember when I started, I showed up at my dad's office, 2004. I got out of the Marine Corps one day. The next day I'm walking into my brand new office. There's a phone and a laptop on the desk, nothing else. And I didn't have a clue what to do, nothing, zip. And frankly, I wouldn't have admitted this at the time as a guy just stepping out of the Marine Corps, but I was scared to death. And that somebody would have shared with me this information. Take a look at this. If you work 40 hours a week over the course of 6 months, and hear me when I tell you that normal in commercial real estate is not 40 hours. Generally, brokers are working more than that. And you probably understand that at this point, but let's just take this as an example. A 40-hour work week over 6 months, you're going to work 1,000 hours. And if you understand, and if nobody's told you this yet, your prospecting is the absolute most critical thing that you're going to do on a daily basis. And so this is the blueprint. This is the prescription for how a new to the business broker should be spending their time. And the first thing is canvassing. 8 hours a week canvassing. And anytime I ever bring up canvassing, we're going to get questions like this. Like, Rod, you just watch. You're going to get some questions about canvassing. This is what I mean when I talk about canvassing. This is STP. You're seeing the people and you're seeing the property. And that's going to be different if you're a land broker than if you're an office tenant rep guy. Office tenant rep guy, you're going to go into a building and you may canvass 40 different prospects in the same building. If you're a land broker, you may just drive by the acreage. If you're a multifamily guy, you might drive into an apartment complex, park, take a little walk around. The critical thing is that you actually see the property. You notice the geography of that acreage. You notice if there's deferred maintenance at that apartment complex. You notice that the types of vehicles and the tenant mix in that power center that you're canvassing, because when you make that call and you have seen the prospect, you've seen the property, you will be talking to the prospect from a position of authority. It's not an address to you anymore. It's not a picture that you pulled out of CoStar. You've actually seen the property. You've been on there. You know what the air smells like. You know what the people look like. It makes a huge difference, and it allows you to prospect from a position of authority. So that's the first thing, canvassing 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week on the phone. And you may think that is way more than I'm doing now, and it probably is. But this is what top performers, and Rod, you've been coaching top performers all over the United States and in Canada as well for a long time. And how much time are the, not new to the business, but the long-term top performers, what do they spend all their time doing?
Asking for business, prospecting. They're finding new business opportunities. That's what they're doing.
They're on the phone. all the time. And this is a habit, and one, it's a skill you need to learn, but it's a habit that you need to weave into the DNA of your commercial real estate business. You need to be having twitches if you're not on the phone because you just don't feel right. So 10 hours a day, that's 2 hours a day on the phone prospecting, 5 hours of research. Now, Tucker, do you remember what I said about research with your group? Do you remember?
I think I recall it. Don't over research. Don't spend too much time diving into the specifics of things.
And here's why I said that. Because when I see people in the New to the Business program spending 3 hours on the phone and 15 hours researching, they're going to be smart and broke. They're scared of the phone. That little trigger right there, if they're spending all this time researching, they're going to be really smart. They're not going to find any business. And most of the time, New to the Business brokers do that because they're scared of the phone. They're scared of prospecting. They're scared of rejection. They're scared of something, but they're not on the phone. Nobody likes to research. So research just 5 hours. And it's different from some of these other goals on how we spend our time because these are minimums. But with research, it's a maximum. I don't want the New to the Business broker spending more than 5 hours a week researching. They need to be prospecting. Okay, the fourth thing is networking. That's really self-explanatory. Eating alone. When we talk about eating alone, this is in the category with research hours. We just want you to eat alone 3 hours a week. The rest of the time, you should be eating with someone. You should be building presence and relationships. You should be prospecting. You should be eating with mentors or other people that are vested in your success that you can learn from. You need to maximize the effectiveness of those hours. So limit your eating alone to just 3 hours. Ideally,
Bo, if I could give one suggestion, look, if you're eating alone, ask a mentor, ask someone that's been in the business a little longer than you. If you can you'll chew with your mouth closed, you promise. You can sit there for your lunch time, hopefully no more than 30 minutes, and just listen. Just listen to what they do, what they say on the phone. Great way to leverage your eating time. So I'm sorry, Bo, go ahead. That's
a great suggestion, and that's something, now that you said that, that I remember doing. I would take my lunch into my dad's office, and I would just listen to him talk on the phone. It was a great learning experience for me. Okay, 2 hours, excuse me, 2 hours meeting with prospects, 3 hours of admin work. Now, let me be clear. Some New to the Business brokers are brought onto teams, and their role is doing some of this admin work. Okay, so some of you are in situations where you've got certain responsibilities where it's not going to look exactly like this, but hopefully you can limit your admin work to just 3 hours because you need to be on the phone. You need to be on these properties. And then 5 is miscellaneous, 5 hours a week of miscellaneous work. Now, when we tell the New to the Business broker that they need to spend their time this way, miscellaneous is anything really that falls into the category of fulfilling business. If you're showing property, if you're negotiating a contract, the way we're looking at this, that falls into miscellaneous. Don't let miscellaneous, as kind of a throwaway category like you're wasting time. That's not what we're suggesting, that you spend 5 hours wasted a week. This is just the other stuff that's important but doesn't directly tie to finding and winning business. And this is it. That's the blueprint.
Okay, so we got some time management metrics, we have the goals, and again, we'll share these with you. We'll get you recording, everyone on the phone, but this is what we're finding from a time management standpoint. So let's leverage our panelists, Bo, while we still have them. I know that they both need to drop off in the next 5 minutes. So Bo, how can we engage our panelists regarding how they're currently spending their time?
Well, Tucker, I want to understand how this change and how you spent your time affected your business. What did it do when you started spending your time this way?
I'll tell you the biggest thing, Bo, is really my mornings. I'm very much a morning person, and that's where I can really knock out what I want to accomplish for the day. And so every day, after I started getting to this program, I was able to see with the metrics and with that my activities, how I was allocating that time. Was it worth spending on different things? And through that, each morning when I got to work, I knew what I was getting myself into. And it's carried on. It's, my first hour of every day is prospecting. Tuesdays are my extra long prospecting day where I spend my first 4 hours on the phone, just digging away. But if I can dedicate that first hour to just prospecting and make sure that happens every single day, It's going back to that, that core of what's important there. So I think it's habits. It's establishing those habits early and carrying those habits to every day. And it trickles down from that. I mean, good habits compound onto better habits. And honestly, it's improved my networking. It's caused me not to eat alone anymore. I was very much research oriented. I didn't like, going out and making the calls or picking up the phone. And as you develop your value strategy, you come up with different methods to go out there, and you gain that confidence to do things. So it really, everything compounds from those early things, that early time management blocking.
And that's outstanding. And I can tell you that Tucker is a bright, shining example of what happens when somebody overlays this type of system onto their business. He's done a fantastic job, and you could see his numbers just start to take that hockey stick up and to the right. When he started applying this to his business, it was really, really satisfying as a coach to watch that happen for him. And Adolphus, the same question: How has this shift in how you spend your time affected your business?
Well, it's given me a lot more focus and a foundation to build my business on. Beforehand, I was all over the place, and then some. And this is given me structure. It's also laid out the ingredients in regards to what is most important in regards to building your business and being one of the 1% of the most successful agents in the country. So it's helped me in multitude of different ways. It's helping me to be more disciplined in what I'm doing. I mean, I got a lot of great ideas to do things, to acquire great business, but I needed a structure. I was kind of all over the place beforehand, not good planning, next to no time blocking to do this, that, or the other. And this is giving me a format, a roadmap, if you will, to being really successful.
Okay, one last question for both of you, and then we'll release you back to your days. And again, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Pleasure.
What would you say to the new to the business broker who's listening right now, who's considering whether they should invest in themselves and go through a program like this? Adolphus, what would you tell that person?
Well, I would say it's absolutely paramount that they do this if they're serious about being really successful and for as long as they want to be successful. You can't accomplish your goals and dreams, and I'm assuming that everybody on this call wants to be really successful and then some. You cannot do it without investing back in yourself. Into yourself, I should say. I can use a sports analogy, for instance, in regards to the most successful people in sports or business or what have you. They have business coaches. In the case of sports, they have, athletic coaches, things of that nature, always working on their game, taking to the next level, regardless of what vocation they're in. And the same applies to this, commercial real estate. And I would say that if you don't do it, you would be definitely doing yourself a disservice and setting up yourself to fail or just dancing on the dance floor of mediocrity.
I like how you put that, because it's tough to be average. Nobody wants to be average.
All right. Tucker,
same question. What would you say to the person who's listening right now?
I'm gonna tackle on to a lot what Adolphus said. I think it's important to always, if you're passionate about something, and specifically commercial real estate, you've got to keep educating yourself, and you've got to keep holding yourself accountable to meeting the standards you want to meet. And this program does that. It lays the blueprint for what you need to be successful at. And it really is it's been, life altering for me. It's allowed me to narrow my focus and understand where my passion is in this business. And at taking this course, it's going to humble you. It's going to gut check you at certain points. But it's gonna bring a sense of reality that you need as an agent, and again establish those habits that will allow you to have the longevity and the career you're looking for.
Great. Well, guys, thanks so much for your time. You are free to go, and we're going to continue to share with those we've got on the call. So thanks again.
Wait, they're free to go. Wait, no, you're not free to go. You got to coach them here. You both got to give us at least 20 more calls today. So get back on the phones and make some money. Okay?
That's what we're going to do.
You got it.
Okay, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
thank
Bo,
you.
thanks,
Good luck,
guys.
everybody.
Bo, I just want to remind everybody here that you have a question and answer box. Don't forget to use it. That's going to allow you to exchange with us. Hampton, I see your question. We'll get to that, I promise. But use the question and answer box. Use the question and answer box, and we'll get you going. So, Bo, we got about 30, 35 minutes left. We got a lot to cover. Let's get to it. We're talking about prospecting targets.
So we just talked about how you should be spending your time. These are the metrics you should be shooting for as you're spending your time that way. So if you're going to spend 8 hours a week canvassing, your goal that you want to hit is at least 40 properties that you have actually seen with your eyes, touched with the boots on your feet, that give you that position of authority to prospect from. 10 hours a week on the phone, that's 100 dials that you're shooting for, a minimum of 100 dials. Now, that should lead to 20 connections, and here's the big difference. When I dial for Rod Santomassimo, because he's got an apartment complex that I want him to consider selling, by the way, through me, I call him and I get his voicemail, his assistant, anything but him, that's a dial. It's not a connection. When you actually speak with the person that you're calling for, that's a connection. And so ideally, you're going to have about a 5-to-1 ratio from dials to connections. And out of those 20 connections, you should be generating 2 meetings a week. And if your ratios are off, one is if you don't track it, you don't know your ratio. That's something you absolutely need to know. But if your ratios are off, that's telling you something. You might need to drill in and improve your phone skills, improve your closing skills, so that you, when you talk to somebody, you can actually generate the meeting. And those are the deep dives that we take within the course. But these are the metrics that you should be shooting for. And if you do that consistently on a weekly basis for 6 months, you're going to have 4,000 prospecting outputs over that time. You think that's going to generate some business? Absolutely.
Okay. So let's talk about then the generation of business. Let's talk about the pipeline.
Yeah, so the pipeline aspect of this, and the goal for every person that goes through the new business program is to generate $50,000 of new potential net pipeline value. Now, I told you earlier that the average is $165,000. The goal is $50,000. And I'll tell you this, 100% of the people that have completed the course, tracked their metrics the way we say, made the calls the way they say, 100% of them have hit that $50,000 mark. I mean, it's automatic almost. So on a weekly basis, here's the things that we're tracking. We want to see that potential gross income is growing by an average of $2,000 a week. That'll get you to the $50,000. On a weighted average, about $1,000 a week, that you're generating 3 new prospects a week at a minimum, and that you can generate an exclusive a month, whether that's a tenant rep assignment or a listing agreement or whatever the case may be. That's what we're shooting for.
So we have these goals, we have these metrics, Bo. You told them what to do, but we haven't yet told them how to do it. And I'm going to actually skip some slides just because we have some live endorsements today for you to see. But I love this one. It doesn't come with a manual, and so why someone invested in themselves. But let's get to the pipeline. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through pipeline pretty quickly. But you have a recording of this. You'll go back and you can listen to it. Bo's going to jump on to prospecting and tell you what you need to do to prospect more effectively, very key. And then we'll get into the platform you can use and the partner and so forth. So here's what I know. Go back to the question and answer. Tell me about your pipeline. Tell me about your pipeline. Go to the question and answer box. If you don't know what it is, tell me A, what's a pipeline? That's fine. Don't worry about that. If it's mostly small deals, B. If it's unbalanced, some small, some big, some realistic, some not, that's C. If it's sporadic, it fluctuates every week, every month, or just, hey, I'm consistently full with big deals, which is congratulations, by the way, if that's the case to everybody. So You know, Bo, no surprise here. We're getting a lot of C's, a lot of D's, and a bunch of B's, excuse me, bunch of B's. So pipeline sporadic, not quite sure, small deals. Let's fix it. Let's fix it. And to fix it, Bo suggested earlier, we have to understand our numbers. We have to understand where we're going. So don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the magnitude here. That's not the point. But you got to look at certain things in your pipeline, because the pipeline is your bloodline to understand where your business is going. Very important. So what you see is some screenshots of what we track on our Masa mobile cloud-based system that all our clients have access to. And I'm pretty psyched to say that in June, we believe this will be an app as well for your phones and iPads, although it works in the cloud anyway. But just looking at your pipeline, certainly look at a couple of things, right? You look at potential value. Look at potential value. You look at weighted average fees. Look at timing, because you got to know when you get the money's coming in, right? You have to know all that, and you have to have a goal. This hypothetical gentleman, Tony Domas, has a goal of $900,000. You may have a goal of 9,000. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. But you got to know what the goal is and how to track it. So look at your pipeline as far as where you're getting your deals, right? Really important to understand where you're getting your deals, right? And what the status of each deal is. Find, win, fulfill. Your pipeline must have all three components. Find, win, fulfill. It must. Find is proposals. Find is you think you have a qualified prospect. Your pipeline has to track that. The win is I got the exclusive. Now I'm doing tours. I'm marketing. Great. You won the business. You haven't gotten paid yet, right? Then you got to fulfill it. Under contract, sold, lease, whatever intent. Find, win, fulfill. Find, win, fulfill. There's a lot of other factors and facets to the pipeline that we get into in the program and here as well. But for time, I just want to share with that. Find, win, fulfill. Does your pipeline have all three? And is it balanced? In this case, balanced could be by dollar volume or by quantity within each sector. But you have to have all three. You have to track all three. You have to track every deal to see the health of your pipeline. This is essential. This is the basics. You got to know it. And yeah, you'll look at your deals, the number of deals you have, and the average size deal. We'll get into that at a different time. Where you're getting your deals, look at that. Are they, client referrals? I don't believe in cold calls. I like to change that tag. Warm calls, prospect calls, company referrals, networking. That will tell you a lot too. Initially, most of your deals as new to business will come from company referrals, someone within your own company giving a referral, maybe your mentor, maybe your senior, right? Obviously, and prospect calls. That's where your first deals will absolutely come from. But here's the key. We look at all the deals of all our clients of all levels of success throughout North America. I aggregate all that data, and guess what the number one source is for high quality deals? It's the prospect call. It's the prospect call. That's the highest dollar average deal because you're not sharing fees with everybody else. So think about that as you move towards your business. So what kind of deals you're getting, where are they coming from, what's the average fee, all that is essential to your business. Now, as you move in your business, we call it bad blood. I'll go through this quickly, right? It makes sense. If you go to left to right, got a prospect, oh, now he's qualified, I got a proposal, I got a listing, I'm in negotiations, I got a letter of intent, I'm under contract. That's left to right. That's the flow of a deal, right? Also think about your percentage, right? The more I go from left to right, the percentage should increase. It should increase. So think of it as some type of bar line that says, hey, this is the medium point where deals should be. You got to track this stuff. You got to track this stuff to know the health of your pipeline. So important. So here's 4 quadrants. Think of the Covey quadrants, right? Important, urgent. Do you know the Covey quadrants? Look them up on Google if you don't, right? So here's the Covey quadrants, right? So if you just have a new deal and it's low probability, that makes sense. Just starting out, 5%, 10%, I don't know, it's not 100% because you just started out. Of course, if you're going down the road and now you got a deal in the latter stages, LOI, under contract, you expect the percentage to be higher. You expect that, and it should be. 2 problems, right? You just got a deal, and for someone in your mind, you're saying, oh yeah, it's 1,000%. I'm getting this deal done. We're going to come back and ask, really, why? Now, if you tell me it's your father, I'll say, okay, I'll give it 99%. But I don't hear anything else to that. So that, I don't want to see that. I really cringe when I see deals that are in this quadrant of way down the road, but low probability. That's lost emotional energy. That's lost effort. Those are deals that you should not be working on. Now, starting out, you might be just to get the experience. I get that. But as you grow your business, could be next month, next quarter, that can be 5 years from now. Think bigger than that. You don't want to be in this quadrant. You don't want to be in this quadrant. Pipeline management is so crucial because it helps you grow your business. It helps you show where you are at any given time. And with the right parameters of tracking your pipeline, you now have the financial management to move forward and have that consistent cash flow, which most people felt on this phone call was a key to survival. So think about that. But let's talk about the platform itself.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about prospecting real quick.
Prospecting, I missed it. Prospecting, prospecting.
As the most important P, we should not skip this one. And if I had to guess, this is the content that everybody on the call has probably been waiting for. So you heard Rod just a second ago say, I don't believe in cold calling. And some of you might have been like, what? What are you talking about? In fact, at the Massimo Group, we believe that cold calling is dead. It's ineffective. What we prescribe and what we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, it works way better, is targeted precision prospecting. And here's the big difference. A cold call is a book and a phone, and you're dialing for dollars. You're getting somebody on the phone. Hi, my name is Bo Barron. I'm calling about such and such a property. Are you interested in selling? You ask them a yes, no question. They say no, and you move on to the next one. Good luck with that. There are much better ways to prospect. There are ways to get someone on the phone, give them a compelling opening statement, and move right into a great reason that they should meet with you. Hi, this is Bo Barron. I'm with such and such a company. The purpose of my call today is to share with you the unbelievable difference in the cap rate 3 years ago to now. And if you haven't been paying attention, you may not know how much your property has increased in value. I wonder if it'd be worth 15 minutes of your time for me to come by early next week and share with you what I believe, based on our firm's dominant experience, the market would actually pay for your property right now. Would that be worth 15 minutes of your time? It's a whole different ballgame. Okay, you're giving them a compelling reason to meet with you. Now, before you even make that call, you can send a letter. And there are absolute best practices in how do you construct a letter. And we're not going to get into this now, but what we're starting to describe here is a system. How do we create a system that leads to meetings? Because that's what we're after, meetings. And too many of us rely on prayer. And don't hear me wrong. I'm a big believer in prayer in every aspect of my life, but you can't build a prospecting system on sitting in your office staring at the phone and praying. You actually have to do something. And let me mention this to you quickly. If you don't get the results that you're looking for, you need to tweak your system. And if you don't have a system, what on earth are you going to try? If you're not keeping score, how on earth do you know what to change? You don't. It's a shot in the dark. It's like the blind leading the blind. And what we give you in this New to the Business program are the best practices in the system and the way to track everything so that when you get results that you'd like to change, you know what to go back. You know where your weaknesses are. You know best practices to apply, to improve, to generate more meetings so that you can win more business and ultimately fulfill it and take that check to the bank. Now, as you're prospecting, here's what most New to the Business brokers do. Hi, this is Bo Barron, and let me tell you about me. I'm going to tell you some more about me, and I'm going to tell you about the experience I don't have. And since I don't have any experience, I'm going to tell you about the experience of my firm. And I'm going to tell you some more about me and what I studied in college and me. Guess what? Your prospect does not care at all. They want to hear about them. They want to hear about their favorite subject, which is them. What they're asking themselves is, what's in it for me? WFIM, what's in it for me? And if you're prospecting and you're not if you're not answering the question that they are definitely answering, I'm saying this all backwards. If you're not answering the question that they're asking themselves, which is what is in it for me, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time. You have to prospect in a way that it's all about them. You need to be sharing the benefits that benefit them, not the services that you provide. You have to translate everything. You have to go one step further. It's not about your experience. It's about the benefit that they can get from your experience. And you don't leave it up to them to translate that. You have to tell it to them. And here's some examples: profit, savings, efficiencies, growth, time management. All these things are possibilities of what's in it for them if they engage you. Now,
okay, so Bo, let me ask you something. So you're much younger than I am, number one. So I think you said you're current and I'm crusty. I think it's the last thing we said there. But have you ever seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, or the play?
oh, absolutely, love that movie.
Okay. If you all have not seen that, and now look, I'm a New Yorker, and I said y'all. Bo's from Kentucky, and he said you guys. Something's really whacked out today. I don't know what's going on, Bo. But if you have not seen Glengarry Glen Ross, you got to see the movie for one very important reason. And Bo, let's talk about the AIDA approach.
Yeah, AIDA. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the context is you've got a real estate office late one rainy night. They're having a sales meeting. And young Alec Baldwin comes in and gives them a pep talk. And it is a tirade. It is very R-rated. So if you've got sensitive ears, you might want to skip our suggestion to go see this movie. But it is a classic. You've got Al Pacino. I mean, it's beautiful. But he comes in and he addresses AIDA, which in Glengarry Glen Ross is attention, interest, decision, action. And it sounds a little bit like this. AIDA, attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it is close or walk. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ? And action. And that's my bad Alec Baldwin impersonation, but that's how he explains AIDA. At the Massimo Group, we do it a little bit different. A is attention, just like Alec's version. Our version is attention. The first thing you must do is grab the prospect's attention, whether that's through a letter or by phone or whatever the medium is. You have to grab the attention. And you do that by having a confident opening statement, something that you can nail. If I screw everything else up about this call, I know I'm going to nail the opening statement because I've practiced it. It's about them. I'm going to honor their time. I'm going to tell them exactly why I'm calling, and then I'm going to move into the benefit. Attention. This is now, as we move into the I, involvement, this is where we differ from the Glengarry Glen Ross version, involvement. What you're describing to your prospect here is the benefit that they will receive if you're involved in this process of their whatever transaction they're considering. You have to make it crystal clear. This is, again, getting back to, you don't describe your services and your experience. You tell them how your services and experience absolutely benefit them. You're always communicating in terms of what they get out of it. That's involvement. D is data. And the beautiful thing about this is you're going to give them something of value for free. And the reason you're going to do that is it triggers reciprocity. And what reciprocity is this idea of I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And it's a powerful mental trigger in Western culture. Very powerful. And you want to use it to your advantage. So you're going to give them something of value for free. And naturally, they want to reciprocate. They want to return the favor. So that might be a market study. That might be a comparative market analysis or a broker opinion of value on their property. It may be some comps, and you can provide that in a letter or on the phone call, whatever method of communication, but you're going to give them something of value for free up front to trigger reciprocity. And then A is action. And this gets me very irritated because most new to the business brokers, most brokers anyway, they can nail all of this stuff, and then they're too dang timid to actually ask for the business. You have to have a clearly defined next step. And during the prospecting process on the phone, your next step is you want to generate a meeting. You want to get face to face with this person so that you can continue to pursue their business. That's what you want, and you have to ask for it. Don't forget to ask.
Beautiful, Bo. And I'm assuming, because I see this, I know this is your PowerPoint, this is both a phone call and a letter format, a letter approach. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. It works beautifully either way.
Okay. Well, let's move on. We've got about 12 minutes left, got a lot to cover. So I'm going to jump right into platform, Bo. I'm going to ask you to take us into the platform, talk about these 3 elements we shared earlier, and give us a key of, let's start with time management. Let's start with how we manage our time.
Yeah, well, I gave you the blueprint earlier of how the new to the business broker should spend their time. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it, and that's a very simple method called time blocking. And before I do that, let me dispel the major fallacy in commercial real estate, which is you don't have control over your time. Your clients do, your prospects do. Somebody calls, they knock you off course, you have to be at anyone's beck and call. It's just not true. You are the CEO of you. You are the one that's in control of your time. You absolutely are. So this time blocking method is simply this. If you understand that the most important thing you can do for the long-term health and success of your business is to spend 10 hours a week prospecting, you schedule an appointment with yourself for 10 hours on your calendar. Maybe it's 2 hours a day. Maybe it's 4 hours one day like Tucker does and 1 hour every other day. However it is, you schedule that time and then you honor your appointments to yourself. So when somebody calls you and says, hey, I'd like to see this property, instead of dropping everything, you can say, look, I've got an appointment right now, which is completely not a lie, something I need to honor. I can call you back in an hour and a half. Will that work for you? That's how you're able to manage all the disruptions. Now, sometimes somebody's going to call and it's the big whale and you need to jump. Okay. I've literally got a calendar that's my ideal week planned out. And I go over it on a weekly basis every weekend. And you know how many times I've nailed the ideal week? 0. It's never happened. I get really close sometimes and I'm way more productive than if I didn't plan ahead. But things happen. Okay. But this is your best shot at making sure that the most important things get done. So in any rudimentary way, start time blocking your time and you're going to see huge jumps in your productivity and success. Now, the next question is, Rod, how often do you get asked, what's the best CRM system?
Is without a doubt, when I travel to North America for speaking, it's the #2 question I'm asked, without a doubt. Number 1 is, how do I maximize my income? Number 2 is, what CRM should I use? And Bo, the answer is simple. Use the one you're going to use. Don't like the answer, there's a reason for that, but use the one you're going to use. But use one. So let's talk about CRM, Bo, and there's a lot of choices out there. So let's give them your, because I know you're an expert at this, so give them your perspective on CRMs.
Yeah, so a CRM system needs to be able to do a handful of things. And beyond that, find the one that feels the best for you. Okay, it's just got to be something that you're able to use that's not going to use you. Some of these are extremely complicated and robust. And if you want something very simple, you're going to lean one way versus the other. But find the one that works for you. But here are the things that you need to make sure that your contact relationship management system does. The first thing is it needs to be a dynamic system that can grow with your network. So if it's stiff, if it's boxed in, if it can't grow with your network, then you need to axe it out. And all these ones that we've listed above, ClientLook, Salesforce, App2, Act for CRE, REA, Daylight, and the ones that come out with tomorrow, they can do this. Okay. It needs to be a dynamic system that can grow and morph with your prospect list. It needs to be able to track communication history. You want to ask questions like, can it track my emails that I send? Can it integrate with my email program? How easy is it for me to get the information from the conversations I have into this so I don't let things fall through the cracks? It needs to track your communication system. And what this does is it allows you to download all the things bouncing around in your head into one place, which frees up bandwidth in your mind so that you can focus and perform better. And then you don't have to worry about letting things fall through the cracks. Okay, the next thing is it needs to track key components of each contact. Okay, is it important for you to reach out to somebody on their birthday if you're trying to build a relationship with them? Yes, I mean, it needs to be able to track things like this. How many kids do they have? What's their wife's name? When's their birthday? You want to try to find out that kind of information so you can track it and use that information to continue to develop strong relationships with your prospects and your clients. It needs to have a calendar function where you can schedule reminders for yourself. And it's as simple as that. Outlook is not on this list, by the way, if you notice. Outlook is not a CRM system. It's an email list. It's an email application with a very clunky filing system with a calendar. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. And then you need to be able to link people together. You need to see where associations and relationships connect. And so if your CRM system can do these things, then you're on the right track.
And I would assume, Bo, if you're doing all this, right, we're talking about the prospecting initiatives, we're talking about the CRM, it's easier to keep score. And I know that's vital. So let's talk about keeping score and why it's so vital.
Yeah, well, if you don't keep score, how do you know if you're winning? You don't. I shared this example before, but I keep the book at my son's 6th grade basketball games. That's my job on the team. Very important. But it is very important because without that book, without the tracking all this stuff, you never know who wins. And I said it before, if you're not getting the results you want and you don't have a system and you're not tracking what you're doing, how on earth do you know what needs to improve? How do you know what you need to do differently? If you're not tracking what you're doing, you have no clue. And I'll give you another little secret. What gets measured gets done. And what gets measured and reported on, you introduce that function of accountability in with your measuring of the most important things, it gets done faster. And that is at the bottom line, the entire context of this coaching program.
So what is this, Bo?
This is the scorecard within the Masa Mobile platform. This is where our coaching clients in the New to the Business program track their metrics on a weekly basis. And we've got some that are a little bit different than this. This is more of a mid-career example, but this is how they track their stuff. They log in on a weekly basis and they write in how many dials. The goal is 100. Hopefully you're over 100. How many connections did you make? How many meetings did you have? How many hours did you spend canvassing? They track everything, and on a weekly basis, they enter that in. This is the scorecard report that they can look at, and they can see how I'm doing. Now, we've had one person in the history of the New to the Business program call me up and say, this is not working for me. I was like, okay. So I pulled up his scorecard, and you know what? It wasn't working for him because he wasn't doing any of this stuff. This system absolutely works if you work it. And the numbers never lie. The numbers tattletaled on this guy. Yeah, it's not working for you because you won't pick up the dang phone. So it's vital to keep score. Vital.
And for those new to the business, no doubt we coach some of the most the top producing brokers in the world. We do. And I'll share with this. In the last 4 years in a row, we look at all our clients, and the one that makes the most money, believe it or not, tracks the most metrics. He's a metric, he's a fiend on metrics. He's so tight. He knows, like Bo just said, numbers never lie. If I'm hitting my numbers, I'm going to hit my income. And that's the way I am. And this gentleman's in his 50s. He's making millions every year after year, but he's tracking his numbers. So we're not asking you to do something different than top producers aren't doing. So, Bo, we got some time left. I think we're going to go a few minutes over. So if you can stay with us, please do. We're going to jump into a couple of things here. I want to talk about having a partner and then platform. And there's some questions coming in. I want to address those as well. So use that Q&A platform for your questions, please, so we can respond to those. But let's get to the next one, and that's really the partner side, right? So who's a partner? You have several partners right now that you should be able to reach out to. Number one is a mentor. There's a mentor, if not in your office, in another industry. They could be a mentor to you, right? A senior broker, absolutely, or potentially a coach. Again, let's talk about the difference. And you got to understand you need one, two, or all three. It's up to you, but get one. If you get any, at least get one of these three. So a mentor will assist you in your planning, and certainly they have the experience. Hopefully they're experienced in your field. That's the key. That'd be great, but they don't. You can't find someone to mentor you. Find another seasoned veteran in another field to give you the basics of business development. That's one thing we want. The senior broker, they can direct your plan. They can certainly review your pipeline and maybe even generate opportunities. They may even give you leads and have you clean on deals and learn that way. Great. Heck, they might share some fees. Maybe not. Maybe your compensation is the experience they provide for you, but they may in fact share some fees. Now a coach should assist in your planning, should help you establish your goals. Goals we know will drive revenue. have a vested interest in your income, in your success and your income, same thing, and for most folks, hold you accountable. It's amazing. Hey, I have 2 coaches. I do. I personally have 2 coaches on the business side that hold me accountable. I need it, right? I need to be held accountable. I know Bo is a coach. We all have coaches. And of course, they should be experienced in commercial real estate. That is important. They got to be experienced in commercial real estate. Key. Now, let me share with you a little about the new to business coaching program. We've talked about it on the periphery, if not directly today. I want to share it with you. And then for those that may be interested, I want to give you some incentive to take that next step. And I know some people are asking questions about the next steps. I'll get to all those in a moment. And I apologize for my voice. I tend to lose it at the afternoon. So first of all, we're not trainers. There's some great trainers out there, absolutely are. They come in, they give you a concept, a theory. You have to implement it. You have to test it out. You have to make it work. And then they're gone. They get their fee and they're gone. We're coaches. We're your partner. We have a plan. We want to make sure that you get the performance to create the production. And we had some special guests today. Adolphus and Tucker shared their experience. If you go to our website, there is ample testimonials that can be shared with you from those that have participated in our new to business program. And as Bo shared with you, we have specific objectives, right? The number of hours you work in a given period of time that you work with us is 6 months, the number of touches you have to do, the pipeline value that we're set out to achieve. I remind you that our value for those that complete the program is over 3 times that. It's $165,000 on average. There's some that blew that away, by the way, and there's some that came close, but on average, 165. So what's this program all about? Bo shared with you a little bit in the beginning, but it's a 24-call coaching call program in a group session. Those groups can be 6 to 8, or they could be 10, 12, 15, could be 20. Last time we did this, we sold out so quick. We had a second group, and we got 40 to sign up. This time we only have capacity for 1 group. We only have 1 slot, so we have a capacity of 20. And 6 folks have already signed up, so we got 14 seats left. So here's what the program's about. You're gonna go over the basics, the bloodline, the pipeline. We're gonna give you that. We're gonna show you how to use it, implement it. Prospecting. Spend a lot of time on prospecting. We have specific ways that we know will help you find business and win those opportunities. Absolutely. Understanding the market is essential. Just because you're new does not mean you cannot understand the market and give the perspective to your prospects and knowledge that you understand the market. The essentials, of course, we'll talk a little about the lease and how to structure a deal and your database. But again, that's a lot of training in there. We really focus on winning business and moving forward. And then we'll set it up for a plan of success for you to move forward. So when the 6 months is over, how you move forward. As we suggested, everything's through Masa Mobile. We have a cloud-based system that you can track your data, no excuses, interact with your coach on a weekly basis outside the formal calls by using the Masa Mobile system, and everything's there. From our goal tracking, to our numbers, to our pipeline, to the communication, to the Masa Mobile member community, it's all there for you to use and move forward. And again, we had the average income of those leaving the program, those graduating, of $165,000. That's what it is. And how it works is, we'll check in weekly on your progress, and we may check once in a while daily, but every week we're gonna see how you're doing. And if your broker's paying, if you're not paying, but your broker is, they have the ability to have access to your files so they can see how you're doing. So they're gonna make an investment in you. They'll see how you're doing. By the way, one question was asked. Let me jump to those questions for a second. It was asked, Rod, who pays for this program? Does the new to business broker really pay for this, or does the broker himself invest in the new to business broker? I will tell you, of the hundreds of people that have gone through the program, 50% invested in themselves. They made the investment, they took the step, they invested in themselves. 50%, their broker may have either upfronted or shared in the investment, but their broker did not pay for the total investment. Because we share with the broker, don't do it. Because unless you have skin in the game, you won't get out of it what you need to get out of it. You won't pursue it and the passion that you do when you know it's my investment, it's my time. That's true. We tell everyone that. You have to have skin in the game. So let's talk about a little skin in the game and what the investment is and how many seats we have left, and let's give you some incentive to go forward. So here's the investment. It's going to be $400 upfront membership fee to give you access to everything. And then over 6 months, the 24 calls, this is our lowest level investment, only $400 a month. Only $400 a month. So you add it up, it's $2,800 investment over 6 months. And again, with a pipeline value of 165 on average, assume a certain percentage closes of those deals, the return on this investment is phenomenal. It's exponential. But here's what we're going to do. We have only 20 seats left. That's it. Well, actually, we only have 14 seats left.
That's right.
Here's what we're going to do. The program's going to start April 6th. We got plenty of time, right? I can register in the next 3 weeks. I'm good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all the registrants that register before August, or actually before the end of this week, and I'll put this in an email to you next. Before the end of this week is what we're going to do. If you register by the end of this week, you will have a chance to win one of 2 half investment prizes. That's right. We're going to split that investment in half. If you invest by the end of this week, you'll get a ticket to that drawing. Right now we have 6 people signed up. Let's say another, make the math easy for everybody here. I think I'll have 4 sign up by Friday, 2 days. So those 10 people, 2 of those people have a chance to get it cut in half. So what I'm sharing with you is if you want to invest now. Make the early investment. And after that, there'll be only X seats left, and that's the trigger for you to invest. So the program is you get all access to all modules. You get Bo Barron as your personal commercial real estate business coach, the one and only Bo Barron. Really, really, I know Bo's he's a shy guy. He does a phenomenal job. Before I take on the questions, what other comments do you have?
I've been on calls like this before. I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and hopefully we've given enough information today where even if you decide not to participate in the coaching program, if you're not ready to invest in yourself at that level, that you've gotten a lot out of this. This has been valuable time for you. But why are you waiting is what I would ask you. Why on earth do you want to delay your success? It's just not worth it. It's not worth waiting. And on the flip side, you are absolutely worth it. And so, Rod, I don't know if, I know we're a little bit over and we need to wrap up. Again, I can't see the Q&A box. And so if there are any other questions that we want to roll through, otherwise, I would just encourage people to make the decision to invest in yourself, invest in your future. And this is a great first step for you.
Okay, and some of you may have noticed I'm always looking to my left, probably on your right of my screen. But there's questions coming in, and I'm answering some questions through text, and some questions I'll address right here. Of course, yes, this will all be available to you. We'll get you out a recording of this presentation along with some information, along with a link to register right away. We absolutely will. How long does each session last? Each weekly call lasts approximately 30 minutes because we give you so much content and tools and information during that call. We give you a lot of time to implement it, get ready, provide it to us, submit your responses, track it on Awesome Mobile. So by next Monday, we see where everyone is, and then we go to step 2, then step 3, then step 4. Believe me, it's a lot of work. A half an hour every call. You'll be saying, okay, it's like drinking fire out of a fire hose. Drinking fire, like that, drinking water out of a fire hose. That wouldn't be good, fire out of a fire hose. So my voice is shot, Bo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have you, first of all, thank everyone for engaging and investing in the time and looking at it in a reflective light. If you don't invest in yourself, that's your decision. Get a mentor, get a senior broker, but look at the tools and approaches we share with you today to how to prospect, how to manage your time, and how to look at your pipeline. Absolutely implement what we shared with you today. Bo, my voice is shot, so you get a chance to close this out. Go ahead.
All right. As a new to the business broker, if you're anything like I was, you're dealing with some frustrations. What's the most important for me to do on a daily basis to find, win, and fulfill new business? How should I be spending my time? How do I call someone who's never even heard my name and compel them to meet with me? How on earth do I pull that off? I'm going to tell you, we've been teaching hundreds through this 6-month program how to do those things. Imagine what it would be like for you if you got up every day with the confidence that you knew exactly what to do to drive business. Imagine what it would be like for you if you had consistent deal flow in your business and you weren't stressing about the finances. Imagine what it would be like if you could pick up the phone and confidently pursue business with people who have never even heard of you. That's what's possible. That's what we're offering through this program. And so, man, I hope that I get to meet you as your coach. Thanks again for spending this time with us. And Rob, let's wrap it up.
Great, Bo. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Take care.